In this video, we will build a habit tracker. So habits can be grouped under categories. And as we progress, we can check how we are tracking against our targets. In this example, I would create 4 categories with sub-components under each one. So for instance, resistance can be a category to take into account for habit tracking. And then under the category, I just list some items that I would like to track. I'm creating another column just beside. I'm just tracking the number of occurrences per week, and I have a weekly target. For instance, here I'm targeting to do 2 sessions of push-ups per week. Next, I'm creating some squares for each day of the week, so 7 cells wide, and I'm just going to stick to 5 items per category, and I'm just copying and paste these 4 times for the 4-week tracking. On the top left, I can put the date that I want to start with. So if you want to start for a Monday, you put a date that is a Monday, and then I will calculate all the other dates from that point. So here what I'm doing is I'm just going to get the first date, and I add 1 day to each one of the dates. That is on the left-hand side. At the top, I put the same date. So it will be done by formatting. And then it will be just a matter of formatting all these. For the month, for instance, I create a custom format with MMM, so that will give me the month. And for the one below, I just want to have the day itself. So I just go into format cells again, and then I do a custom, and I just put day so that will just give me the day. Okay, so that gets us started. So now I can duplicate this, creating a bit of a space. The week number at the top. I merge the cells. So here I'm just reproducing the date, and I will put a DDD as a format so we can see the full day. Well, for instance, here that's a Monday, so we know. Now I'm duplicating the dates here, so I'm taking the last day on the right-hand side. I just add 1, and then I'd add 1 just to the cell just on the left, doing the same process. Copying this here, copying this here, and that's it. And I will be doing the same merge cell at the top. Now, just to demonstrate that the month will change as well. If I take another date, for instance. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of formatting and duplication. So I'll be duplicating these 4 times. Obviously, you will have different categories that you want to track, but it just gives us an idea of the overall feel of the spreadsheet. I'm just going to do some basic formatting again, just putting the headings there. So each category would have a specific color scheme. So the blue for the top one, and I will be just playing with the different types of shades. Accent, actually, how they call it in Microsoft, accent of that color. I'm adding some grids, white grids here, so it's a bit subtle with all those colors. Done. Now, I will be putting the default format for all these cells will be the same. I'm just copying and pasted the format only. So it's all the same blue with white borders there. So it's all going to be done to conditional formatting as usual. So what I'll do now is I'm just create a conditional formatting session where I say, if the cell here is not blank, if there is actually something to check, and I will add another condition. So I put and at the front. And the cell itself is not blank. So if that condition is met, I will be creating a deeper blue. I will be putting this. Okay, so for the moment, we don't know if it works. But I will be just doing this for all the cells here. So I'm just broadening the scope. I'm applying that to the full week. And I want to change also the font. I want to have the font the same way because this will be the trick that we'll be using. If we have the font and the cell fill of the same color, it looks like it just there is nothing in it. And that allows me to input absolutely anything, one, a three, a letter. And that's the beauty of it. It's very easy. You don't have to think about what you want to put in. As soon as you put something, it takes it as something has happened and you've actually done that habit for the week. What I'm doing now is I'm actually putting a default field for the item to be tracked if it's blank. So if it's blank, I just, to avoid confusion, I'm just going to have a grayed out cell. So I'm just applying a pattern here. And I'm just checking if there is no item, I just put a pattern. So now what I can do is I can use the format painter to duplicate that rule on all the other weeks. And there you go. So this is done. Now remove the grid line. I'm just putting some additional borders to this. Little by little, I'm trying to give a little bit of shape to this. Just doing some additional formatting here. Now I just want to have something a little bit that visible in here, maybe some type of red. I mean, I reserve the right to change it, of course. I'm adding just a cylinder. I'm just going to have a strong shadow here. So just once I've done it, I realize that the weeks need really to stand out. And the way I will be having them stand out is by adding actually a shadow. I'm doing that on some videos. Sometimes I'm adding a darker color here, darker accent, almost black at times, to give a bit of a 3D effect. This is the poor man's shadow in a way, but I think it really helps to have the week stands out because there's a lot of pale colors and a lot of whites. I'm just going to repeat the process for all the other weeks. And this is done. We have our shadows now. To avoid the clutter, I'll be using another tab to do my calculations. So creating another tab, calling it weekly data. I'm just going to be first duplicating the weekly target here. It's not mandatory, but I wanted it to be clear when you are on this sheet that you are actually dealing with a copy instead of referring to something that you cannot see. I prefer to do it this way. There's a bit of a duplication, but I'm fine with this. So the way we count how many occurrences have occurred is we just use the 𝐾𝐽 formula. So the 𝐾𝐽 formula will bring back the amount of cells that is not blank, more or less. And that doesn't matter if it's a number or anything. This is why we could put anything we wanted on the cells. So I'm doing a 𝐾𝐽 for every week and every line. So it's actually very fast. Once you've done one, you just have to make sure that you are selecting only the week when you do the 𝐾𝐽, and you do this 4 times. And after, it's all going to be a matter of dragging things down to get all the other items in this category. So here I just do the first line, and that's it. Now I would drag all that down, and it will be bringing me back how many occurrences I've done during this week. And here I'm just checking here. I put 2 on the first line. I put 1 there on the last line. And then I check, what do I have? 2, 1, so it works. And what I'll be doing next is I will be calculating the total of the targets for the week. So I will be just calculating this using the function count if this is greater than 0. I just will be counting how many items I have targets for, so I can check overall how many targets I have met during that very week. Now, I have done some very basic formatting. For each week, I want to know if I have met my target for each item. I'm checking if the amount of occurrences that I've done in one item is greater or equal to my target. That's pretty obvious, pretty simple. But I also check if the target itself, there was something on the line for the target. And then it's all occur automatically because I've just brought everything back here. So this is done for that. Now I can calculate the total occurrence that I've done for each week. Now I'll be creating some additional columns. The possible target completion. The targets met. The completion percentage. The reminder, so this is going to be used only for the chart. And then the success rate. With 2 S's would be better, but that will do. Now, next step is to calculate the progression itself. So the progression, I start from 0 and calculate the possible target completion, which is the maximum. If I were to meet all my targets, this is what I should be doing. I should be doing 4 targets every week. But the second line is what I have actually done. And I will be also calculating the progression. So how many have I made during each week? I add all that up. So that will allow me to keep track. Now the completion percentage is also very simple. The first one here, I've just made 1 out of 4, which is 25%. And just divide 1 per 4. That's it. So I brought it all the way. And for the remainder, it's easy. I take 100% and I deduct this amount. So that will be done for the chart. So I can, that will make sense a little bit later on. Now the success rate is the amount of targets that I've done every week compared with the total for the week. So this also will be used as a way to show. And you'll understand why I need a percentage and I need these text like this. I think that the percentage will be done to create the proportion of the chart, and this success rate will be done as a display. I think it will make much more sense when we display it this way. So here I'm just going to do some formatting again. Nothing too fancy. This is the data sheet, so it's not really to be displayed. It's a behind the doors type of stuff. Now this is where hopefully things will start to make sense. First thing to do is to create a chart. So using the percentage here, so that will give you the proportion of the chart as I was saying before. What I want to do is I want to make it clear that the part that is in orange here, it's a stuff that we haven't done yet. Let's not get confused. This is the stuff we haven't done. And I'm going to use the bars like this just to show that this is something that is not done, that you need to do. Blue for my first category, this is the color that I chosen. So I can keep the blue. So this way, that makes it clear that we have this percentage only. So for the first one, for instance, it's 1 out of 4, which is 25%. It's showing that quite clearly. I don't need the chart title, I don't need the legend, I don't need all this. So what I will do is I will be adding the data labels. I will be formatting the data labels, and then I will take value from cells. This is what I want to show. I don't want to show a percentage. I just want to make it clear, and I think this is much clearer. And then I'm just doing some formatting, a white background for data label itself. So I'm copying the chart and I'm pasting it here, and I'm going to try and squeeze it here. I'm removing the percentage. That doesn't make sense. I'm going to leave the 1 to 4 so it's clearer that we are talking about the week here. Now what I'm doing is I'm just going to go to format data series, and I'm just going to increase the overlap. So by doing this, I'll reduce the gap width, so it's 50% here. So the columns are closer together. Now this is done. Now I need to do another chart. I want to do a progress chart. So insert, chart. I want to take the one with the markers this time. And here you can already see the shape of things, that this is really the target. The straight one is the target, but I'm going to remove the markers themselves. And I'm going to try to make it a little bit more subtle, or be a bit more evident that this is what we are tracking against. So I'm going to put some dotted line here. And I'm going to find a color to put that in. I'm going to start with this red, and I could always change it later on. I'm just going to pick a red. And here we are working with the blue color. So I'm just going to stick with the blue because this is the blue category. I'm just going to stick to it. What I want to do is the marker itself. I wanted to have a border that is the same as, but I just want to make sure that there is a white in the marker itself. I want to fill it with white, solid fill and white. So otherwise it's going to be see-through, and we don't want it to be see-through. So now you can see the progress, right? You can see the way the things will progress. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to remove this. We assume that it all makes sense. And because we don't want to overwhelm the screen with data and stuff like that. So this is just to give a high-level view. So I'm just going to copy the chart. I'm going to paste it here. It stays on both worksheets, which is fine. And now it's just going to matter of formatting. So I'm removing the grid. I'm removing the stuff, the axis, the axis on the left-hand side. Now we can see the progress on the left-hand side. We can see the column changing. I'm just going to continue the formatting now. You keep fine-tuning and fine-tuning, so at some stage you have to say stop. That will do. Now, I would like to have some gray type of background. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting a cell gray. And next I will be creating a small bitmap or a PNG to apply as a background this way. And then I'm going to put it somewhere on my laptop. I'm putting under the download. And then I'm going back here, page layout. I'm pressing background. And I select a file. Now I'm turning some of the cells in white. I'm going to reduce the width of that line here. And I will be doing more formatting now. So here I want to make it clear that on the right-hand side, we're talking about target. We're talking about progression vs targets. Here I'm just adding a deeper shade to the type. I'm just formatting things again here. Now I would like to have an overall progression percentage, or out of the 4 weeks, how far I am from my goal. What is my situation now? At the moment, I have done 7 out of the possible 16, and I'm calculating that percentage. And I'm just taking those 2 percentages, and I'm just selecting, inserting a donut type of chart. So you go to Insert Chart, and you select a donut. And then for the things that have not been completed, I want to have this also these trikes, just to show clearly, no, this hasn't been done. I remove the chart titles, and then I can add the data label. This time I can leave the percentage because this is the ID, but I don't need to leave both. So I'm just going to leave one of the completed. And then it's just a matter of formatting this to your liking. Maybe have a white font. And this is, you can copy it, and then you can paste it on the other sheet. And then you put it to your liking. You can make sure that it's quite visible there. So I'm just going to copy the full rows, including everything here. So I'm just going to copy this. And I'm just going to do the formatting. So I've copy and paste the formatting. I'm just selecting another color now, another color scheme. So now, obviously, I need to change conditional formatting for this, otherwise it's going to stay blue. So this is what I need to do. I go back here, and here I just apply a deeper. It's all optional. Obviously, if you want to keep the same color for everything, it'll be a little bit faster. But here I'm going to do the same for all the types of formatting. I'm just going to duplicate everything, and including the font. Now, if you want to give a bit of life to your tracker, you can insert a couple of icons that are representative of your categories. I mean, it could be a photo even, it could be anything. I'm just saying icon because it's just something I know everybody has, and you can look for it. You insert an icon and you just put it there. Also, the icons have the advantage that you can make them see-through. So here, for instance, I'm just going to put one weight here to symbolize the resistance. I'm going to put it in white here, and I will fine-tune all this later on. I want to put another one here as a background, so it might not be of everybody's taste, but just to give you an idea of what you can do with it. So I'm just going to put the white here, not the blue, sorry, I'm just going to put the blue, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to the more colors options, and I'm going to put the transparency to 70%. So it's at the back. This way we have a quick look, we know which category it is, and we know how much we have done. And then rinse and repeat, you do the same thing for the 2 other categories. Now, something that suggests as you duplicate charts is to right-click on the chart that you like, and you just put Save as Template, and then you will reapply this template to the other charts. You won't have the same color, but at least you would have the same format without the color. So that will be a better starting point at any random chart. So, and after you just a matter of just using the template. So here, for instance, I change this data series, and I go to template, and I reapply the template to this, and then I just have to change the colors, which is much easier. So you can do that for all the charts that we've been using and that we need to duplicate. Now I have made some progress on the tracker here. But what I'd like to do is I would like to add a tick for every week where I have met my targets. So that's a bit of visual that I thought would be good to add. So what I do is I'm just counting, as usual, how many times I have succeeded to meet my target during the week. And if it's greater or equal to the weekly target, then I will insert the letter P. And you'll understand why I insert the letter P later on. There you go. So this is what I'm doing here. So I have one P here. So once you have P, what you need to do is you need to go to the font themselves. I've done my research. And you select Wingdings 2 here as a font. What do we have? Wingdings 2. And then it's magic. So how did I know P was Wingdings 2? Well, you go to Insert, Symbol, and then you go through this and you select a symbol that you like. So for instance, here that I have the tick here, and I've inserted it, and after I convert it to my normal font, and I've noticed that it's a P, so now I'm doing the same. Now I'm just going to copy and paste all this. You don't have to apply conditional formatting. You can just put the color that you like here. I'm just going to do copy and paste for the rest. Now on top, I'm just going to add a couple of columns to make it a bit clearer. There you go. So this is close to the final version. As I say, it's always always in progress. The only thing is I've decided to add a bit of a more colorful border to each one of the percentage completion on the right hand side. I thought the white was not bold enough, so I've changed this to the original color, a bit of a deeper color. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. I'm doing this very often, almost on a weekly basis at the moment. So if you want to have more of those, subscribe. Especially regarding habit trackers, I have plenty of ideas, plenty of things that I'd like to do. So if you're interested,